Hello, my name is Brenda Hampton, and I am helping Addie Hubert with her Spanish project. So she's given me 10 questions, five that I have to answer in Spanish, and the second five I can answer in English. So I am going to start off with the questions that she sent me. So the first question is, ¿cuáles son algunas tradiciones que haces? Well, como mexicanos, pero nacidos y criados en los Estados Unidos, no tenemos muchas tradiciones. Adaptamos tradiciones comunes de otras personas con la que pasamos tiempo o crecimos. Nos encanta comer, así que la mayor de, de las veces la comida es una parte importante de nuestra cercanía. A través de la preparación de nuestros platos favoritos. Aprender recetas de los mayores de la familia es la forma más eficaz de aprender lecciones de vida de ellos. Escuchamos y prestamos mucha atención cuando hablan de sus experiencias. La mayoría de ellos crecieron y vivieron en una época de segregación y discriminación. Compor- Compartir sus historias es lo que nos mantiene informados sobre nuestra cultura y entrenarnos sobre nuestra raza y etnia. Segunda pregunta, ¿tienes alimentos, tradiciones que haga o comas? Como dije, nos encantamos comer y cocinar. Nos encanta hacer platos como mole con pollo, pozole, menudo y tamales. El mole es un plato complicado, pero cuando la familia está junta, todos tenemos un trabajo que hacer que hace que el plato tenga su momento. Y pozole y el menudo son comidas típicas que satisfacen cualquier sentimiento que podemos tener. Todos nos reunimos alrededor de las vacaciones de Navidad y tenemos una línea de montaje para hacer tamales. Hacemos cerdo, pollo, carne de res y chile jalapeño con queso. Los mayores preparan la masa y hacen el chile para las carnes. Alguien asa el cerdo o asar el cerdo y la carne de res en la parrilla. Los niños más pequeños separan las hojas. Las adolescentes esparcen la masa sobre las hojas y los niños adultos rellenan las tamales con las carnes y el chile jalapeño con queso. Una, una, una vez que están rellenos, se cuezan el vapor en la parrilla o en la estufa. Luego, celebramos todo nuestro duro trabajo. Pregunta número 3. ¿Hay días festivos únicos que celebras? Pues en nuestra familia, el Día de los Muertos es una gran tradición en nuestra familia. La festividad se celebra en los países mexicanos y latinoamericanos el primer y segundo día de noviembre. La celebración suele durar una semana, comenzando el 31 de octubre. Hay servicios religiosos, desfiles y festivales cerca o en el cementerio. La festividad es especial porque celebremos las vidas de quienes han fallecido o la gente que se pasó. En lugar de detenernos en su partida. Por supuesto, por supuesto, lamentamos su pérdida, pero honramos su memoria rindiendo homenaje a lo que significó sus vidas mientras estaban vivos. Creamos altares y labrados que cuentan una historia de cómo vivió la persona con, con fotos, elementos favoritos, um, citas o cosas que decía todo el tiempo, música, flores, ¿qué más? Asistimos a fiestas en las tumbas donde nos pintamos la cara para hacer esqueletos, calabadas, escuetos de caras de calabaras, colocamos alimentos, bebidas y otras cosas que les gustan en sus lápidas y bailamos alrededor de las tumbas. La creencia es que durante el Día de los Muertos, las almas de los difuntos están despiertas y pueden volver a estar juntas con sus seres queridos. Actualmente estoy trabajando en un actor por mi mamá. Me ha llevado un tiempo comenzarlo porque mi esposo y yo estamos en medio de una mudanza, por lo que tenemos muchas cosas guardadas. Una vez que tengamos nuestra casa, ese será mi primer proyecto. Compartir esta pintura que se estoy llorando, que hice justo después de que murió. Ese es un cara de calavera. Yo lo pinté por mi mamá en honorario cuando se murió. Lo siento por eso, yo estoy llorando un poco. Pregunto número 4. Dice, ¿qué idioma o dialecto hablas en casa y qué importancia tiene para ti? Pues hablamos inglés. Sin embargo, cuando hablamos con mi abuela antes de que murió o con los mayores de la familia, tenemos que hablar español. El español es nuestro idioma y parte de nuestra herencia. Es importante no perder esa parte de nosotros mismos. La mayoría de las veces no soy muy buena hablando español. Como pueden ver durante esta entrevista, me trabo con las palabras porque mi primera lengua es el inglés. A mis primos les enseñaron desde cuando nacieron a hablar primero español y luego inglés. A mis primos les enseñaron desde cuando está joven y por lo que lo hablan con fluidez. No aprendí a hablar español hasta que fui adolescente, por lo que no siempre me siento cómoda, cómoda hablando español con hablantes nativos. Ya no soy tan cohibida, hablo español y le hago saber a la gente que no soy tan buena en eso. Pregunta número 5. ¿Hay alguna vestimenta específica importante para tu cultura? Usamos, usamos ropa que cubre todo nuestro cuerpo. Mi abuela, mis tías, mis tíos no se permitan usar minifaldas, pantalones cortos, 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 blusas cortas, ni nada por el estilo. Si consideraba una falta de respeto hacia nosotras mismas y hacia la familia. Usamos ropa apropiada para la iglesia, las bodas, los funerales, pero nada fuera de lo normal. Yo pertenecía a un grupo de ah, baile cuando era más joven y usaba vestidos tradicionales de flamenco, pero ya no. All right, the English part now. So, question number 6. How does your heritage influence your identity and values today? Well, growing up, I was a rebel when it came to my heritage because I am Mexican, Black Islander, and Cherokee Native American Indian. Some of my cousins did not understand why I did not speak Spanish and sometimes made fun of me because I was not like them, so to speak. Um, I retreated away from the family and sometimes would deny that I was Mexican. My grandmother told me once, though, that although I was different because of all of my mixed races, I was still lucky because I had a lot to learn about myself, meaning I had such a combination of cultures to learn from to gain more knowledge and experience. It was better for me that I had a broader life, so to speak. Um, so not only did I have to just learn Spanish, I had to learn about being Cherokee, being, indigenous, um, learning the black Barbadian side of my family, and having all of this mesh of culture that made me different, but in a good way. um, you know, I had such a combination of cultures that later on in life I embraced my entire self and learned what each of those races and ethnicities were about. I did learn to speak Spanish, not great. Like I said, not great. I'm not very good at it, but I do well enough. Um, when I work, people, uh, the patients that I work with, they are appreciative that I am able to at least, try to communicate with them. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand more than I speak, so uh, I know when people are talking about me. um, but because of my different influences, I have more of an opportunity to gain insight and knowledge and of who I am and learn what kind of person I am. Um, you know, each part of my heritage influences my identity and values um, because I'm aware of what my ancestors went through to be a part of this world and what they did for us to, um, the oh my god, I'm losing my train of thought. The protesting they did, the civil rights that they participated in to make a world a better place for us. I learned from their experience on how I wanted to be treated as a human, as a woman, and a person of color. So, knowing what they went through, um, it helps to identify who we are and who we want to become, or who I am and who I want to become, and how I want to be treated. So, question number 7: are there any specific stories or legends from your culture that are particularly meaningful to you? Well, we grew up with the traditional ghost stories. La Llorona, the woman whose children drowned in the lake and pond or any body of water. Um, it was something our parents told us if they didn't want us to go swimming that day or they wanted us to stay away from that area. And then we had El Cucuy, which is the Mexican version of the boogeyman. Now, it's again, if you didn't want your kids to do something or go anywhere, you would say, no, the cucuy is going to get you if you go, in that room or if you go outside or something like that. As growing up, that was something that we were told when we were young. Now it is essentially a playful way to tell our kids no, when we don't want them to do something without us being there or do something at all. Oh, can I go outside? Can I go play with my friends? And you want them to clean the room. You tell them, no, Kukui's going to get you, unless you clean your room first or something like that. As for other legends and specific stories, we were always told of, just stories about how our indigenous ancestors were, on the Mexican side, we have Aztec in our family. So just, the typical Aztec stories about how they, conquered, things in the Mexican area, the Mexican country, things like that, but nothing real specific. We're more we're more we're more on the La Llorona El Cucuy traditional stories. Um, Question number 8: what is the importance of family in your culture, and how does it differ from other cultures you've encountered? Well, we stay connected as best we can. Social media is helpful because we stay in touch and can share experiences as often as we like. But I think family is family in Mexican culture, English culture, Jewish culture, um, you know, Jamaican culture. It's a togetherness. Um, we like to get together. You know, we'll fight, we argue, but I think overall, when things are serious and it comes down to it, no matter how much we can't stand each other or we're dislike each other at that moment, we still come together. When it's funerals or someone's hurt in the family or someone's in the hospital, we all come together. We may not like the person that we're standing next to, but we're not gonna, let them go hungry either. So, we kind of stand our own ground, but, we make sure everybody's included in the family when things happen. Um, I've always been kind of distant from our family just because, again, I've been, um, not the typical person that likes to stay close to home and things like that. I've, distanced myself because of the way I was I wasn't treated badly when I grew up, but, I was treated somewhat differently, so I remain different and I kind of do my own thing. Um, so, family is everything, but we also have learned that, um, family, we didn't choose our family, we were born into our family. And if someone is treating you badly, and, just because they're family doesn't mean you have to stay close to them. So a lot of my friends are more family than my family are. There's only a few people I associate with and a few of my cousins. But I think the word family and the meaning of family is important with spending time with the people who are there to support you, take care of you, help you in your time of need, and you doing the same for them. So I think rather than saying, my blood family, we're together, we've taken that word family and just embraced it with the people who are close to us and who are there for us. And nine, how do you stay connected to your cultural roots, especially living in a different country? Well, I've always lived in the US, so the cultural roots that I have are learned from the elders in our family. I think just talking with my aunts and their experiences when they've gone to Mexico, or just talking about what I've experienced when I've gone to Mexico. Um, you know, they'll recommend literature to read, books and things that are they're closely accurate to our culture and heritage. I'll attend workshops. I'll participate in activities that are culturally centered. But travel and music are the best way to stay in touch with my cultural roots. Um, you know, I may not go out of the country much, but just going to different places, or going to different restaurants, even different, um, you know, conferences that I've been to learn about different traditions, because Mexico is huge. So when people, oh, you're from Mexico, not everybody in Mexico participate in the same cultures, but they have similar cultures or similar traditions. So, it's me learning um, new things all the time. We hold our heritage close, but we're also taught to learn about other cultures, to not be isolated and biased to our own. We embrace, we were taught to embrace our own culture, but be accepting of others, so that when you're engaging in conversation with people from other cultures, you are able to stay close to your own while sharing and learning about someone else's culture. The last one, number 10. What aspects of your heritage do you wish more people understood and appreciated? That not all of us are gang members and criminals, or people looking for a free handout. Most Mexicans come to the US, are exposed to violence by the drug cartels, and they're just looking to survive. Yes, some spoil it for others by being involved in crime, but most of the people who come across the border are hardworking and want to establish themselves appropriately. Um, Not every Mexican person, especially if they grew up in the US, speaks Spanish. So there's always this assumption that because they're Mexican, they can translate. Um, so I think uh, the Spanish language, from anybody who speaks Spanish or a different language, there needs to be a higher appreciation for um, people who speak a language other than English, because it's a way of communication. It's not a tool for somebody else to use, um, and to assume as their own, just because somebody can speak a different language, um, that you can abuse their ability and not pay them, or not pay them appropriately. And there is a difference between speaking Spanish and translation. So I know I've worked in a lot of places where they look at me and they go, "Oh, you speak Spanish." I'm like, "I speak Spanish, but I don't translate." And it's hard for them to appreciate that, well, you speak Spanish. Yes, I speak Spanish. I can converse, but I'm not real good at it. And to translate means that you're translating verbatim and getting the message across to the person who doesn't speak English, um, that it's communicated correctly, what is the message that's trying to be conveyed. And um, that's a very valued piece of our heritage, but undervalued by other people who take it for granted. Um, I mean, there might be other things, but right now I think that is it. So I hope um, this interview is good enough for you, Addie. And I hope you get a good grade. Thank you. You guys have a good night. Bye.